Welcome to Glowing Success. My name is Heidi and I am your host. This podcast is for beauty entrepreneurs. Join me weekly as we dive into the beauty industry's ins and outs, from business strategies, top-selling services, and taboo topics. I will be interviewing industry leaders with empowering stories and game-changing insights. Let's illuminate your path to success together. Let's jump into this next episode. Welcome back to Glowing Success. I have Nicole Twito on today with Nicole Twito Beauty, and we are going to be talking everything about bespoke style concept. So if you're wondering about bespoke style or that concept, tune in. But without further ado, Nicole, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thanks.
I'm so excited to talk about this because it is very unique, and this topic is probably really interesting to many, but they don't necessarily know about it. So if anybody doesn't know you or they're not familiar with you, can you go into a little bit about yourself?
Well, Heidi and I go way back. We were both students at the Aveda Institute in Minneapolis, I think like 14 years ago. So I graduated with a massage therapy, estheology, like both degrees. And I also had an interest in makeup. So I was kind of a triple threat. And at one point with spray tanning, a quadruple threat. And so I've had a lot of different jobs in the industry and have found myself at this point self-employed. And I like to have custom treatments. So that's why I use the word bespoke.
I really like that because sometimes when it comes to your client's skin or like what they're wanting from a treatment, I do feel like there's so many ways as a beauty professional we can actually customize that whole experience. But
Mhm.
sometimes we kind of get put into these little boxes, especially from companies or from school or from like fads or things going on the internet about like what a facial or what a treatment should look like. And I really like the idea of just customizing it to that client. So if anybody doesn't know what bespoke is, there's a bunch of different definitions out there, but one definition is it's made for a particular customer or user. And if you kind of think about it, it suits your client's needs, like she was saying. So
Mhm.
is that kind of how you would define it?
Yeah, I think for me it's twofold. I really like to be able to cater to whatever someone needs that moment, whether they know what they need or not, whether like depending on what their goals are for their treatment that day or what I see as being a concern I want to address. But also, I really like creativity. I like to, I enjoy creating both the experience, playing with my products. Um, I think for me, I don't think I'm creative in like certain aspects of my life, but definitely as kind of an ADHD person, I really like the novelty of, you know, kind of playing in my treatment room and, surprising people. I think it's really fun.
Yeah, and you know what? That's what the little ticket is sometimes for clients to come back, right? Because they may be
Hmm.
looking for that customized experience. I like how you mentioned ADHD because I will say, like, being in this industry and having kind of a neurodivergent mind, let's say, because that's obviously a
Hmm.
term that's kind of being thrown around right now, or ADHD, ADD, anything that you kind of have that maybe makes your brain work a little differently. um, it can be challenging. Like for me, for instance, I could not remember things when I first graduated from school very easily. So like when it came to like even the steps to a facial, like
Hmm.
I would get so hyper focused on one step of like how to do that step, right? That I would
Yep.
forget, like my brain couldn't compile all of the information
Yeah.
together. So I would write really detailed notes and I would keep that note next to me so I could just like reference it really quick. and realizing obviously I didn't really need it, but like I said, my brain would hyper focus on it. So sometimes it would be, I would hyper focus on like the mask, right? And I'll be like, okay, you got to do the mask like this, and you have to whip it like that, or you have to, apply it like this. And so my brain would
Mm-hmm.
be like, we need to be detailed on that. But then you'd be like,
Yes.
wait a minute, but what's the next step? Even though we've done it a million times, right? Like, so
Yes.
I love that this style works for your personality really well in that in that way, because it can be overwhelming if we try to fit into a box that we're not necessarily like fitting into. And so
Mm-hmm.
I think that's awesome that you mentioned that, because obviously it works for you.
Yeah, I was diagnosed in high school, which was way too late. I mean, my teachers were trying to push this in elementary school. Um, and I've had a lot of, challenges around that, but I am grateful that I work in an industry that you can make it what you want it to be. My personality is basically a diagnostic criteria for it as how it presents in women with the combo style. So yeah, I mean, for me, the hands-on aspect of our work is really great, the people-oriented aspect. But then again, chasing that dopamine and getting the novelty experience for me also fills my cup. So yes, it's for my client, but it's also for me. One takeaway from what you're referring to, like getting focused in on like the rules around something like a facial protocol. I think what school is teaching you is the capital R rules, the things that you can't shift away from. Like you have to sanitize a certain way. You have to like there are certain rules that are non-negotiables, but the gray area, the lowercase r's, are where like, okay, here is a basic format for a facial. Within that format, we get to choose from a few different products for our cleanse process or a few different tools for our exfoliation. So that's where I like to not, I try not to get overwhelmed with choice because there's so many different directions, product lines, protocols. I mean, even the time you spend in the facial, your express is not going to look like a longer treatment. So, for me, I think I developed this style because I learned the traditional Aveda, um, the way that they wanted me to do things, and I did work in Aveda concept salons out of school. However, I did not have a lot of micromanaging and oversight. I was like one of two, or sometimes the only esthetician and massage therapist. So my hairstylist bosses and managers were kind of like, you know what you're supposed to do your job, and you make a ton of mistakes, and you get a lot of practice and see what works. So I that's I think how I experimented and got my feet wet before deciding how I wanted to run a business.
I love that you got to like really essentially kind of do your own thing underneath a wing of something, because it does kind of give you a little bit more security, right? But then you're also like,
Hmm.
ooh, I can kind of play around with this concept a little bit in a really safe setting. And I
Hmm.
love that, because who knows that if that wouldn't have been your opportunity at that time, and let's say you did work for a place that was like really regimented, like they do things a certain style, like you're out of 10, estheticians, who knows if that would have been something you would have been able to explore. So I kind of like that you have that in your background. That's really unique.
I do
You know,
encourage newer service providers to work for someone else and see what you like. Try everything. I think you've
yeah,
given this advice too.
yep,
You knew pretty early on, you're like, you were stoked about lash extensions and things like that.
yep,
But
yep.
like for me, lash extensions was the easiest thing to retire from that I've tried. Not, I mean, you actually certified me, but yeah, not my
I
bit,
love
not my
it.
bit.
Yep, yep,
Um,
yep.
so yeah,
But you wouldn't have known that if you didn't try
I wouldn't
it.
have known. No, being full service has been such a gift because also, we came into the workforce in like 2010. And so it was still an economic downturn after 2008. And I think a lot of us right now are struggling and experiencing slower, slower busy seasons, a little bit of uncertainty, I'm seeing newer business owners struggling and shuttering. And it's sad. And I just want to encourage people to not compare yourself to someone's like winning season. Like you didn't see the grind. And me having 3 to 5 jobs at any given time to make a living early on, And also to try and learn and absorb as much as you can, whether it's informing you on how you do want to run your business or how you don't want to run your business. Working for other people is super valuable. And like, again, having this, like you said, like the safeguard of like the lights will still come on in the morning, you know. I but setting yourself apart also, even if you do have a somewhat more strict, um, I don't know, like a place where that has very specific protocols, setting
Yep.
yourself apart, they really drove this home in Aveda too, with that extra customer service, that extra touch, that extra something, because
Yes.
you don't want to think of it from like a maybe competitive perspective, but I remember being frustrated, like, why is that gal so booked? Or like, why is that guy so booked? You know, like, what are they doing? What am I not doing? Like, are they walking their client out? Are they giving them a temple massage at their brow appointment? What's something that within the bounds of your conformity you can do extra? And something that's not going to cost you arm and a leg and your soul, you know?
I talk about this a lot. And the reason I think I like your style of business is because it's all about the client experience. And that's what you're
Hmm.
speaking to right now is like, where is that client experience? Because even though, like you said, even if you're working for a place that has really strict protocols, where your client experience could be a very different than the person that's next to you, right?
Hmm.
So I love that. I love that you touched on that because that's even the difference between somebody booked in a slow season, somebody not. Like,
Hmm.
there's definitely people out there that are booked solid right now, even though there's a vast majority that maybe are experiencing a slow time because our economy and just like kind of what's going on. So I think that, client experience is something to really focus in on because those clients, when it comes to the actual treatment in your appointment, and I find this when I get treatments that I don't know the provider and I'm not getting it for intentional reasons and I'm just there to like experience, is I pay attention to all those things. And it's all about how they made me feel or like, how did I feel when I walked out or did they take care of me at the bedside? Whatever the case may
Hmm.
be and whatever is like important to you. But like that experience is what I remember or like how the energy that they brought or there's so many different things and it's not even necessarily the details of the facial or the details of the service that I got. Sometimes it's
Hmm.
more just about like, man, that person really made me feel like very taken care of or
Right.
yeah.
They don't know the technical aspects of our job. I think one time a lot of us have imposter syndrome and struggle with like, am I doing things right? Are they comparing me? Like we're in our head with our own insecurities, forgetting that like they don't know like if a brush stroke is supposed to go this way or that way, or if you're supposed to layer it, like if you do the heavy massage during your cleanse step of a facial instead of giving a relaxing facial there are certain things that overall they just need to have like an overall positive experience. And like, for example, as a former massage therapist, my shoulder massage is very strong. I have a heavier hand. Some people love that. They want their faces beat up. They want like someone to really get in there. And then my friend Brandy, for example, has like this feather light touch, or oh, my old coworker Cami, she also has like angel touch. And people also dig that if they just really want to be like loved up, warm fuzzy, maybe take a nap. There's someone for everyone. Like, and also trying to be a
I
chameleon in
agree.
that respect. Like sometimes I'm sure I live like I am a different character in so many different people's head, I'm sure. Sometimes I don't talk and people don't know anything about me, and sometimes I'm a yapper and you get my whole life story, or vice versa. It's just you
Yeah.
never know. But I I'm not always good at this, but trying to read the room, trying to give them what they want, see if they're in the mood to talk or not, like
Yeah.
making sure you're looking around your room. Sometimes you miss your own mess, your own dust. Like lay on the bed and look at the ceiling. See if there's a spider web. Like walk into
Yeah.
your room and pretend you have fresh eyes. Like
Yes.
is the light bright and offensive? Is does it smell funny? Is there something?
Yeah.
Always checking in like every aspect of it and not just the service.
Yeah, I agree with you because it is about the whole experience and ambiance is just as important as like what you're doing in the actual service. Now, so when you say bespoke and you've kind of touched on this too of how you like to customize each treatment, but how does that look like for your clients? Like, do they know that you're a bespoke style spa? Do they understand that? Or is it just like they book a time frame? Just to give an understanding of like, if somebody wants to take this concept on in their own practice, how does
Yeah.
that look for them? Like, do you just book 60, 90? Like, what do you book when it comes to that? Because obviously you're playing around a lot. So you're not really focusing on like an acne focused facial, or are you? So like, how does that concept transfer to the actual like marketing aspect of it?
Okay. All right. So a while back, I had paid a woman to build my website out. And then since then, I had someone else rebrand me. And then I kind of dropped the ball. So, like, my website right now isn't super descriptive. It literally has a landing page and a book now button, but it does book over to my Square booking page. And I do have descriptions underneath my facials. The way I currently have it, I would say, like, lash lifts are less customizable. So I'll just talk about facials. Um, I currently have time options. So 30, which I kind of want to just take off my books, a 30-minute, 45-minute, 60, 75, and 90-minute. And then I have a couple things you can add on. Like dermaplaning, for example, since it takes a whole additional 15 minutes, it will be a 15-minute add-on. And right now, like, there's a lot that I personally want to do and change within my books or offerings. There's a couple things I do want as standalone. But within those custom treatments, I kind of let people know with the express facials, the 30 and 45, you don't have to disrobe. Um, and then I also explain in that the longer the facial, the more customization, the more masks, treatments, gadgets, massage I can do. Um, at this point in my career, I am more established and pretty much referral only. I haven't been super active on social media in a long time. Um, so my new referrals already know going in that, hey, and people will tell me, hey, the reason I refer you to my friends and family is because I really enjoy walking in and you tell me what I need. I don't know what I need. You you're the expert. You just play around. And my longtime regulars who are, coming in frequently, they're the ones who are like, I love that you got a new mask. I love that you tried a new gadget. Ooh, what was that smell? Ooh, what's that for? I would say maybe weakness that I have is I don't love educating as I go. I don't really like to talk about what I'm using on them. I don't like educating in retail. I mean, it's something I could work more on incorporating, but I don't really like to interrupt. If we're chatting about life, we're chatting. If you're relaxing and we're not talking, I don't want to talk and tell you what I'm doing. So there is a bit of a missed opportunity where I could be focusing on teeing up, like, I'm doing this to hit this goal to then send you home with, and you're going to follow up by doing this, and then we're going to book you for that. That's not my strength. But I do delight people with the fun new offerings. They don't necessarily know if I'm going to, and that's another reason I bring in treatments that don't necessarily need prep and downtime. I enjoy things that I can incorporate, like, for example, LED light therapy. You can massage someone's arm and hands while it's on their face. You can put a hydrating serum ampule or mask under it. You can do certain things. So depending on what I want to get done during the facial, I find a way to incorporate that step. I think every facial should. I can't remember what my thought was that I was going to bring up today, that I wanted to kind of mention this little tidbit that, like, every facial should
Should be
focus
exciting.
on, yeah, cleansing. First and foremost, everyone can benefit from calming and hydration. And so, like, now that I'm a bit more corneotherapy, like Korean approach, I'm all about hydration, glass skin, brightening, tone correction. And then I kind of believe within that kind of mindset, if your skin's barrier is intact and everything's happy, it's going to be functioning more. It's more holistic. It's like, okay, I'm not like aggressive with acne. I'm like healing with acne. Or, some of these other approaches, like, I don't enjoy the Western approach, like burn it down, shave it off, peel it off. I do prefer a more warm, fuzzy, holistic. Um, yeah, I don't know. And
I love that.
now I'm just doing a run on here, but
No, I love this. I love this information. So my coaching ears kind of perked up when you said, I don't necessarily, suggest products or talk about the service while I'm doing it. And I think that's amazing actually, because there's probably more clients out there that actually just want to relax and get in the moment
Yeah.
and, and actually be able to release some of that day onto our table, and that's why they're there. And so they don't necessarily want you talking about every step or
Hmm.
every product or every new gadget you're using. So my one tip I will say, if anybody's listening and they picked up on that, my one tip will be like, you can just talk about one either product or gadget you use during their service at the end. Say, hey, I don't know if you noticed this, but I used this on you today. Especially if they're a returning client and you use something new on them, that's a good way to
Hmm.
interject that without being too salesy, too weird. And you're already talking with them at the end of their appointment anyway, so like they're ready for that. But I think that's awesome. And there's a lot more therapists out there that are actually having their clients fill out forms to say if they want a completely quiet appointment or do you want to
Hmm.
chat. And I think that's kind of cool too, right? Like give that client a heads up right away to say, hey, is this the type of appointment you want? Obviously, like you said, you're more referral based, so the clients kind of that are coming to you, if they are new, they already know kind of what you're about. They know your vibe because they've talked to their friend, family, whoever they heard about you from. But if you are a new person, let's say you're a new business owner or you ever are established business owner and you're listening to this today and you're wanting to take on that bespoke style concept and you're thinking, how can I interject this? Like, there's so many different ways you can do it. But like she was saying, it's all about like you listening to that client and having that experience with
Hmm.
that client. And so really just focusing your time in on like, what is going to be the best fit for this experience? What is going to be the best fit for like what the client's results are? Like, you know what I mean? So I like
Hmm.
that style for that reason. But yeah, everybody's got a different twang,
Yeah.
right? So
I
I like
mean,
that too.
there are more clinical gals who are crushing acne boot camps, and they're like,
Yep.
they are a lot more direct and are like, I need to see you back. I need compliance. I need X, Y, and Z. I personally struggle with compliance. I am an esthetician who loves washing other people's faces and does not enjoy washing my own. So like
I love
I
that.
think there can be a lot of intimidation
Yeah.
around and shame around people saying, "Oh, I'm sorry I look like this. I'm sorry I visit. I'm sorry." Girl, me too. Like, don't be sorry. Come as you are. At least
Yes.
in my treatment room. And I
Yep.
also don't want to overwhelm people with a 10-step routine when they're washed in the shower and that's it
Yeah.
type of person. So I
Yeah.
want to also say I'll kind of briefly, informally, yeah, ask them what they're using at home if I've never seen them before and kind of how's your
Of
skin
course.
feeling. I want to know what they are concerned about or interested in before I just steamroll them and point out something like one of my best friends got a facial from someone else recently, and they pointed out that she has fine lines and wrinkles forming on her forehead. We're in our 30s, okay? I don't feel comfortable pointing that out to someone. I'm going to work on like they can point out and say, "Hey, I want to look 10 years younger, LOL." But I'm
Yeah.
not,
Yes.
I don't feel
That's
comfortable
not
going in
that's
and
not like
saying,
your
"Here's my
shtick.
goal for you." Yeah. What are you here for? You
Yeah.
want to relax, you want
Yeah.
a good shoulder massage, you want glowy skin, you want to look great before an event. Perfect. I
Yes.
will try to do that for you.
Yes.
Um, so
Yes.
I think touching base, what are you using? Are you like a Cetaphil CeraVe person? Are you interested in upgrading your home care? Do
Yeah.
explaining that I'm a personal trainer for your face,
Yeah.
at your your home care is your gym. And
Yes.
I'm not going to be angry with them if they don't have the same motivation and
Yep.
priorities as I do. If they're like, you
Yep.
know what, I just want to like not have breakouts. Here, let me help you with that. I think you're missing this item in your routine. Or, you know
Yes.
what, I want to prevent, okay, well, sounds good. Let's start with sunscreen. Like
Yeah. Well, you'd be
I
surprised.
really try to get people just, okay, here's another
Meet
tip
them
for
where
how
they're
I
at.
retail stuff. Meet them where they're at. Okay, I don't even talk about what's your budget. I'm not even going to ask like how much are you spending today. I'm just going to skip to what's your priority? Is there something you're running out of? we can keep you a 3-step person. We can just upgrade maybe the quality of one of those items to get you bang for your buck. Or, hey, I'm really, really, really needing you to get a sunscreen or a moisturizer, or I am not hearing any exfoliation, or, it sounds like before we tackle this, you need to do that. Here's
Yeah.
one thing you could add in, or come in with your skincare and
Yeah.
then we'll work around it. But I try not to do services that are not are going to give them an adverse reaction if they haven't prepared to see me.
Yeah.
Um, you know, established
Yeah.
client. Like I'm not going to
I
throw a
hear
peel
that
on a
within
stranger.
like
I'm
your
not going to do
skincare
it.
lines.
I'm not going to throw a peel on a stranger. That's
No.
irresponsible. I need to know if, like, at that point, then I
I
do have
agree
to do
with
the
you on that.
communication piece that I hate. I personally hate like communicating, like, okay, telling people what to do. You need to prep, you need to this, and this is what you have to do for home care. But, you know,
I can't do
that's not
that
my thing.
either. No, and I really don't think it works on many people, to be honest. Like, there's definitely some people that they want you to write down and give them exactly what they need to use. And
Hmm.
they are the client that they want to buy everything that you put in front of them because they do want to start brand new. Nothing's working for them that they're currently using. So don't get me
Hmm.
wrong, there's those clients out there, you guys. So if you're listening, you're like, well, I don't know. I
Oh,
have some clients
totally.
that buy everything.
There's some super successful gals. One
Yeah.
gal down the hall from me, she's
Yeah.
like crushing virtual clients in addition to in-studio clients,
Yeah.
and she's getting all these people amazing regimens and really good results. And she's like incredible at
But
it.
there,
Like,
But there's
props to her.
definitely clients out there that they just are missing things, like you were saying, like they're missing bits and pieces. And I think that's where I want to always meet the client where they're at. And I love that you mentioned that, like, we're not going to like scold them or talk down to them or talk in any way that's negative if they're using a product or something that we're like, oh, that's not my most favorite product, but I like it that you're at least cleansing your skin, or you know what I mean? Because you have to really meet the client where they're at, and then you can make gentle
Hmm.
suggestions as you're building that nurturing relationship with them. Because down the line, if they really liked that first appointment with you where you were like really nurturing and really like, meeting them where they're at and just being that great experience, 9 times out of 10 they're going
Hmm.
to come back to you, and that's where you can start building that relationship and that knowledge further. And sometimes that's where you're going to make that maybe suggestion of that product that you really know that they would get
Hmm.
amazing results from. So I love this style that you have, because it is something that's worked personally for me and professionally for me. Like, I find that a lot of my clients, they have their favorites, and I love that for them. But then, yeah, it's my job to kind of say, okay, well, what are you looking for results wise? Because there's always clients that are out there going to be like, some of your clients are going to come to you for a relaxing facial, and then some of your clients are like, I hate these fine lines and wrinkles I have. I want them to go
Hmm.
away. Nothing's been working for me, and so that's where we can
Let's
interject.
needle
So
them. Let's do it. Yeah.
yeah,
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 I
yeah.
think there's some people who are just going to be married to doing what they want to do. Just like when
Right.
I'm going to the dental hygienist next week and she's going to ask me if I'm
Me
flossing
too.
yet, and I'll say no. And it's not because I don't know that it's good for me and that I should, but
Right.
you know what? Like,
But you're
that's
being
just the
honest.
reality. Yeah. Yeah. And I don't want to
Yeah.
scare people out of
I would,
honesty.
yeah.
Like, it's
And
not
that's
it's
one thing
not
I
it's not
try to,
disrespect to her and her
yes.
profession, right? It's not because the
Right,
data
right,
isn't there to
right.
support that it's a healthy thing for me to do. But that's just not where
Yes.
I'm at right now. I'm not prioritizing it. I don't have a good routine. So I would
And I
encourage people
love
not to
that.
take it personally if someone's not a fit for you,
Yes.
or if they're like not super compliant.
Yeah. And you never know. Maybe that will build over time. Maybe they won't. Maybe they won't be your ideal client. But I love that this is part of your approach, because I do feel like in today's economy and today's, with how people are try products and how people buy products, you just never know where they're going to find something. And yes, I'm hoping they're going to go to a professional because we have a lot more knowledge and experience with things. But, like you said, we have to meet them where they're at. So if you're listening and you're interested in the bespoke style concept, I think this is awesome. I think it could work
Yeah.
really well for many people. I think that this technique is not necessarily unique, but it is unique because, I hear people kind of using some of these bespoke style um kind of ways, but I don't think they understand how to fully push it in like a
Right.
customizable way. So I love that you kind of went over that with everybody and explained to them how it works in your practice. And I love, like, you know, we're talking about like tips and tricks of what works in the treatment room, because I know anybody that's listening, like, we're always looking for what works for somebody else, right? And like,
Right.
what have you done? And I love that you shared all those things with us, because, you know, there's a lot
One
to
thing I'll
that.
say, one thing I'll say is I am leaving a lot of money on the table. I'm not charging enough for my experience. And like, I, some of the ways that my ADHD, procrastination, and anxiety manifests, it's like I really struggle with the back end of my business and the admin and like putting things on the website. Like, I'm very technology challenged. I can't believe I figured out these headphones. Um, so one thing I would say is I can and should be charging more, because for all the fun sheet
Yep.
masks and ampules, and I just got an O2 derm oxygen. That's a big
Yeah.
ticket, piece of
Yeah.
equipment. And
Yeah.
I incorporated a lot. And so the return on investment, whether I charge for it a la carte or not, is still there. For me, the value's still there. But one way that you could do it that my friend Christina does that I don't is she like hands people like a little placard. And I think she even sets it on the table when she steps out for them to change. And it's like 3 add-ons or things they can incorporate that aren't time added, right? So that's a way that you could
Mm-hmm.
customize. An intake form is one way, a little like,
Mm-hmm.
here are your customizations within this protocol. Or in
Mm-hmm.
my case, where I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, for example, if I want a hydrating step in my facial, is it going to be a sheet mask? Is it going to be a regular hydrate, like gel mask? Is it going to be a cream mask? Is it going to be a ampule? Is it going to be like, or even a jelly mask? So you got to just like see what works for you. And for me, I'm just back there, wizard behind the green curtain.
I love that. And it works for you. Whereas, like, I do think about the numbers and like, how is this affecting, and like all the things. So
Mm,
I love that, you know,
my brain
because
does not work that way. I just
my
love to spoil
coaching brain is
people.
like, ooh, yeah, which is
No, yeah,
amazing. We need people like you in
no.
this industry.
Well,
Not everybody can, you know.
there's something for everyone. Like,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
that
yeah.
isn't something I'm self-conscious about. Like, I'm like, return on investment is like a term I learned. I'm like, what is that? What's ROI? Or, back when I
Yep.
used to work for other people, I worked with these bigger skincare lines. And so they say, here's the cost per treatment.
Yep.
Girl, I do not know what my cost per treatment is. It's a lot. I'm losing money, but I'm having a good time and I'm
As
somehow
long as
making
you
a
can pay your
living because I'm
bills.
doing it
Yeah.
intuitively. And that's how
Yeah.
I work. I work intuitively.
Yep. Yep.
It's, I mean, I'm literally I'm reading a book about ADHD in women right now. And we tend to be entrepreneurs for a reason. When you like think
Yep.
outside the box, or when you intuit your way, you're slightly more apt to take risks. Business is a risk.
Yeah.
So, I
Yep.
think, yeah, try to champion yourself for the things you are good at. People want to celebrate you for the things you're good at. I have to remind myself all the time not to
Yes.
compare myself to other people.
Nope.
Um,
Nope.
yeah,
Nope. Because there's a
that's
client
just what
out there
works for
for
me.
you.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's just
And
what
there's
works for me.
always going to be a client out there for you people. So if you're listening and you're resonating with what she's saying, just know that there are clients out there for you that want your service of how you give it, and each individual ways that you give it, and the unique ways that you give it. So just know that, yes, your puzzle piece fits in this crazy world of beauty. Okay.
Hmm.
Well, thank you, Nicole, for giving all of your knowledge and sharing the tips that you've shared, and just sharing everything about the bespoke style concept. I think that's amazing. And I know the listeners are loving this episode. Now, Nicole, if anybody's interested in reaching out to you or following you on social media, where can they find you?
I use Instagram, and my handle is at Nicole, NICOLE _Twito my business name is back from when I did makeup, so I haven't really rebranded, but it works. It's just me. And
Yep.
then my website, I believe, is also NicoleTwitoBeauty.com. Right now,
Awesome.
it's pretty boring. It's a little landing page, but it does get you to my booking info.
That's awesome. Well, I will, of course, put this in the show notes. So if anybody's interested, you can always click on that. But I just want to thank you again for being on.
Thanks. Yeah, it was really fun. I love catching up with
Awesome.
you, and how fun to do a podcast.
I know, right? Well, thank you for listening, everyone. I hope you liked that episode and found something useful or a tip that you can use immediately. If you are wanting more marketing tips, business tips, or anything like that, I have a lot of resources on my website. So I have PDFs that you can download for free. So look in your show notes. There should be a link in the show notes that you can click on, and it'll take you right to my coaching website. And thanks for listening.